Good morning. Um, Today's video is about the signs of Judgment Day. Of course, like a lot of people fear Judgment Day. Yeah, it's pretty scary from the stuff that is actually going to happen. So there are minor and major signs. Minor signs that are like, yeah, pretty small, noticeable. If you look at them, major signs are like, yeah, it's happening. It's close. Of course, some signs already occurred, and some are still to come. Thankfully, that means it's not here yet. We never know when it comes. Only God knows, as He is the all-knowing. Today we'll focus on the major signs, and yeah, let's get started. So the signs that already happened. So the spread of Islam and knowledge. So the Prophet said, "You will conquer Constantinople." Sorry for my pronunciation. I don't know how to pronounce that. What a wonderful leader will her leader be, and what a wonderful army will that army be. This is a hadith from Sahih Muslim 2892. It is basically, I heard this, I heard that. That is what hadiths are. And of course, Islam has spread globally. It's kind of found in many corners around the world, and knowledge and communication is widespread. This fulfills the hadith about people gaining knowledge quickly before the hour. So, as you guys know, many thousand, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe like 2,000 years ago, not everyone was knowledgeable. Not everyone had the opportunity to learn. But nowadays, you see so many people, they have the opportunity to go to school, go to university. They have mobile phones in their hands. The potential of these mobile phones, you can learn so much. Like, you can learn so much from these mobile phones, yet some people, they still, they don't want to learn. And this is this is a hadith about people gaining knowledge quickly before the hour. One of these signs that already happens. Computers, phones, books, common spread with school as well. There are some signs that are observed in society nowadays, such as moral decline and corruption. The Prophet said that the hour will not come until people will compete in building tall buildings. Sahih al-Bukhari 2252. As you guys know, there's many tall buildings and people are competing with them. For example, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and they're building a new tower in Jeddah. Not sure what it's called, but it's going to be like 1 kilometer tall, and the Burj Khalifa is like 830 meters tall right now. They're competing in building tall buildings for, of course, tourism and so and so. But of course, it's in business. It's not haram to build for tourism. This is just one of the predictions which came true. People like tall buildings, people like skylines. Yeah, there it is. Of course, there's dishonesty, injustice, materialism. These become widespread. Of course, this dishonesty is normalized these days. Lying, it's been normal. Even white lies. People say, oh, it's nothing. It's just a white lie, even if the person knows the truth. These are kind of all signs that are observed in society. Injustice as well. I'm not saying like everyone is guilty of these, but there's some people in society that they're dishonest, they're unjust, they don't provide justice between each person. Everyone should be treated the same. You should tell the truth as much as you can. Of course, it's quite difficult these days because we grew up in a society that lying was kind of normalized more than what it was many hundreds of years ago. And materialism, of course, wanting material things in the world. Of course, it's normal to a degree, wanting to be able to provide for your family, having a roof over the head. That's fine. But if you keep, chasing only material things and don't think about the hereafter, that is kind of what that applies to. Of course, for example, a very wealthy person, he may just expand his car collection. Of course, Bugattis, Lamborghinis, so and so, so and so. Of course, it's fine to, like, if you have the capability, you can, it's fine. But make sure to not only see the material things in this world. With the money that you have, you can also give to the poor. Like, for example, every time you go shopping, you can buy, 2 little cartons of cat food. It's like 5 dirhams, guys. And then just give it to the cats on the street. Who knows how much good will come from the cats that you have fed? Because keep in mind, guys, the cats can't testify for you on the day of judgment. Imagine if you feed a cat and the cat testifies for you on the day of judgment. They say, God, don't put him in hell. He fed me on so and so day. And just because of this one deed, you do not go into hell. Think about it. So always, even if you have materialistic things in this world, always try to not strive only for them. Remember the hereafter, do good deeds, because at the end of the day, the money will not come in the afterlife. You cannot buy, your way into heaven after your death. So do the good deeds now. Don't only focus on materialistic things. And another sign that I've observed in society recently is family and social values are weakening. Another warning from the Prophet about the hour approaching. Yeah, this is quite common, as you guys know, in the West especially, sadly. I'm not saying every family is weakening. There are some families that are quite strong. I really like the way that they do things. They all, live in the same household. They do everything together. They go bowling, whatever. There's still great families out in the West, but I'm saying the West is kind of where I notice things that are weakening. There's a lot of divorces happening. Families, they fight a lot over things. I understand that everyone has their problems, but this is one of the prophecies about the hour approaching. And one of the major future signs that is to come is the appearance of the Dajjal, aka the Antichrist, or the false Messiah. So there's hadith saying there's no greater trial than the Dajjal in this world. This hadith from Sahih Muslim 2937. Of course, he will deceive people, claim divinity, he'll say, oh, I am God, so and so, and he will spread corruption across the world. Of course, he will travel the world in 40 days, and there's 2 cities I think he cannot enter, and a masjid. It is Mecca, Medina, and masjid, I don't remember the name, so I'm not gonna say if I don't remember, if I'm not sure. So Muslims, of course, are instructed to recite the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf for protection from the Dajjal. So, if you fear for the Dajjal, because he's generally the greatest fitna to come in this world, memorize the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. That will grant you protection. So future signs, of course, after the Dajjal comes, there's a hadith saying, by him in whose hand is my soul, the son of Mary, Isa, will soon descend among you as a just judge. So of course, a hadith from Sahih Muslim 155. So of course, after Isa will come, he will defeat the Dajjal, aka the Antichrist, and his return is a sign of hope before the hour. Other major future signs are Gog and Magog, Yajuj and Majuj, as the Quran mentions them. Their release will happen approaching the hour, and one of the scariest ones, in my opinion, is the sun rising from the west. This is really scary. Because when the sun rises from the west, it's over. The door for forgiveness closed. No more forgiveness, And that will literally happen right before the day of judgment, maybe as it begins or something. So the hour will not begin until the sun rises from the west. Sahih Muslim 431. It's one of the scariest ones, even in my opinion, Imagine just waking up one morning and you look outside. Where's the sun? You look at the other way. No, wait, why is the sun coming up from the sunset? So, oh my, must be so scary. Anyways, there'll also be the beasts of the earth, the bat, al-ard. So of course, I saw a few different interpretations of how it will look, but I'm not really 100% sure. But it will appear to distinguish believers from disbelievers, simply. Of course, conclusion and reminder. So some signs are happening right now. They're happening in this very moment. As you watch this video, they're happening. Of course, like the towers being, race for building the tallest tower. But others are yet to come. So, it's not the end yet. Still, there is time for you to be good, repent, do good deeds, live a good life. Just because you worship God and you do good deeds doesn't mean that you don't have time to do worldly things. Like you can still buy a nice house, but don't make that your main objective in this life. Because remember, this life is kind of a transition period. It's a test for the next life. So don't make everything about this life the goal. Because at the end of the day, when the judgment day comes or when you die, you won't take all this worldly things with you in the grave. They're going to be gone. It's not real. So the purpose of the signs is to remind humanity to obey God, seek knowledge, and maintain faith. This is very important, guys. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will come. It is guaranteed to come. So act rightly and beware of sins. Be aware of them, Sahih Bukhari 6573. Yeah, that's kind of it, guys. Just remember, you still have a chance before the day of judgment. Nobody knows when it will come. Maybe it will be in maybe 30 years, maybe in the hundreds of years. We don't know, only God knows, as God is all-knowing. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your days, or good night, I guess. That's kind of it. Goodbye.